Look, there's Dila coming to us, and Freddy is also going for a little stroll. Not too sure what Freddy is up for. Ah, look, he's getting a little sippy sip. Oh, and Dila is coming in for a nap. Ooh, and Freddy's up for a little scratchy here. Oh, good boy, yeah, go. Oh, yeah, wiggle that back onto that wonderful tree. Ah, lovely, wasn't it? And with that, we zoom out from our brand new sloth habitat, and we pay our attention today to the right-hand side, all the way to the lake. Yes, we are bringing in the swan today instead of something else, but more about that now in the time-lapse. Okay, here we go. Welcome to Rudy from the future. And as in the last episode, in a couple of minutes, I'm gonna tell you the story behind the swan. There was actually someone who already put down a story, and I found the story actually pretty damn good. So that's not the reason, though, why this is already in here. The reason why I took the swans out for a stroll now is basically because I had a weird idea in mind, as you've seen from the thumbnail potentially already, but also because I think it's important to notice that you will see this entire swan area grow over time, because it is essentially the center point of our second area in Hirscheck. And if I would have completely done the habitat yet, or already, I would have had the issue that I would need to think everything ahead, and I don't want that, you know. I want to build the different areas just like they go, just like they come, and go with the flow that I have when I'm working on the area. I have a very broad idea of how everything should look, but I don't want to put myself into a limitation that is basically unnecessary at this point. I think it's way more important to build this right now and leave me the space to keep on filling it in later on. I mean, we are here in Sandbox. There is no need for having all the boundaries and stuff set already. They are not escaping because I disabled that, and so I can keep on building while the swans are already in their area. And I find this a very good solution. But now, the main reason I wanted to put it in also with this building over here, which is a restaurant, I already said that I will have a restaurant in here, which was originally planned for the region in which the Tarkin is gonna get in, but I will do something else for the Tarkin area. There is going to be something too, but it's going to be a bit different to a restaurant. It's not going to be like a proper restaurant, but also something very nice and typically German, typical Central Europe, very neat. And I think it's also coming very soon. I want to get this done before Christmas even, so let's see if I can get this done, but that's the plan. And yeah, we are here now in building a restaurant, and as you've seen from the thumbnail, to address the elephant, or shall I say the boat in the room, I just thought about the fact that with the way how the tables work, I could make people sit actually in a boat. Like, it's rather simple, and maybe people have done that already, but I just had that idea, and I was like, hey, why just don't put them in a boat? Specifically now having the swans in here, it makes it all so realistic and so fun to do. And I'm not even sure why I haven't had the idea earlier. I'm really not sure why, but you can do fun stuff with the tables, obviously, because they are flexible. They can be put everywhere. I mean, within a radius of 30 my God, 30 meters to the building, and that's also why the building is relatively close to the water to ensure that they can get there. And then we are going to dress it up in a couple of minutes with some very neat things. The time-lapse is a little bit shorter today. The reason for that is rather simple, because the work in here was done relatively quickly. I am listening to an audiobook, guys, and this is always speeding me up tremendously. I have no idea why, but I am just so much quicker. I love just listening to the audiobook and then just go with the flow. So, you know, even though speeding up the episode a little bit, you know, not that slow as usual. Slower, that's the word. My God, my brain is broken. It's not my English is broken, my brain is broken today. I can't tell you how often the gizmo failed on me. I have a feeling this update may have caused a couple more hiccups with the gizmo again. I don't want to say that as of now, because I'm not 100% sure, but I have a feeling that I don't want to have it proven, but it feels weird. Okay, before we talk about the boat, and I already posted that on X or Twitter, or however you want to call that. Also, if you want to find me on Threads that just launched in Europe, you can do so. It's Rudy Rancamel, you'll find me there. I'm there. I try to be more active there soon. But before we go to the boat and the structure of the boat and why I called this the most complicated shape in this game. I'm gonna talk about this in a second. Let's talk about the Swan story first of all, okay? I'm gonna read the whole commentary out this time around, and then I'm gonna name who that was. And let me also quickly say thanks to all of you who listened to this point in time. Thank you so much for sticking with me and giving me the watch time that is badly needed. And also thank you so much for watching the last video, because it's such a joy for me to see that it works and that you guys like to see this series, and it just gives me exactly this joy and this empowerment I need to continue, because lately it has been rather hard, you know, seeing that I put so much effort, more than ever, into my videos, into editing, into doing everything, and having all that lovely feedback from you guys helps tremendously to not focus on views or anything and just enjoy that you guys are so happy watching it. So big thanks and props to all of you. Okay, so here's the story for the swans. I once saw a video of a man with a pet peacock who needed to get to the vet for a checkup, something along those lines. It got an what is that? IV in its wing, so I think that's just kind of broken, whatever. In the video, he claimed that the vets had broken his peacock's wing with the IV, but all throughout the video, he's horribly manhandling the poor bird, shoving him into wire cages, and he's freaking out, keeping him penned in a wire bottom cage, and attempt to collect stool samples from the vet. But the poor bird obviously broke its wing because all of the small wire cages he was shoving it into and pulling it out of he had the audacity to blame his mistreatment of the bird on the vets. I think it's a story like that could be adapted for the swans. A waterfowl owner who just doesn't know how to take proper care of these large birds and has to take a swan or two of his to the vet, and they notice how rough and beat up the poor birds are. Shoving up to the vets in wire cages, not appropriate for them. Bruised, feathers pulled out, even a broke bone or two. So all the birds on the property get sized from him to help give them a place to recover and heal. Hirscheck takes them in. Would help explain why none of the swans can fly anymore as well. They had their wings clipped by the previous owner. I think it's beautiful. I think it's a beautiful story of a horrible story, if you know what I mean. Obviously, these things happen. It's so sad to say that this is not even a made-up story. I would believe this exactly like that would happen in real life. And housing swans that could not fly or barely just jump fly, just as the animals do in the game, and just tying in the fact that they cannot fly into the story is a really great thing. And this is from Dawnfire05. Thank you for this story. It's properly addressed. I love it to bits, and it's gonna be put in here as an education board later on. I pinned all of these things. I have them on my notice app, so don't worry, they're not on my notes app. They're not going to go anywhere. I definitely keep them. Now, as this is said, let's quickly talk about the shape of the boat. See, there is one feature I'm desperately missing in Planet Zoo for a wonderful, wonderful building tool. If you have played Prehistoric Kingdom, you know that there is at least scaling in there, and with the scale tool you can fake mirroring in a way. It's not a proper mirror feature, but you can fake it at least a little by just scaling it negative, you know. That is kind of mirroring, but you can't really mirror it alongside an axis. Building a boat shape like that is almost impossible in this game, specifically for a small size like these kind of little boats, yo. So I really didn't want to bring in all these like tiny pieces because I don't really like how the texture looks afterwards. It really isn't what I like, and I certainly do hope that this is changed in maybe the future, I don't know, maybe in a new Planet game, that there is an addition for a mirror feature. Because technically everything is in, you know, it's a 3D software in a way anyway, so that would be awesome. Because then I could like really build the perfect shape on one side and then just take the whole thing and say like, hey, okay, mirror that on the central axis, and then bam, there you go. But I think, you know, given the fact that the gizmo is already pretty finicky and it doesn't really recall what exactly is the central axis, that would be messed up, I guess, at least in the current state of the coding of the gizmo. So I do believe that once we would get these tools, and I'm more and more getting to the point where I think that we need a proper building mode, like that as soon as you're building, the relative axis is always considering a central point in a way. So there is that trick, if you didn't know, but there is a trick in Planet Zoo. So if you always want to be able to copy things easily around, always stay to the world axis. Whenever you build, stay to the world axis. I can only say it is insanely hard to do so, because after a couple of times you just forget it. You just keep on building. Once you're in a different area, you rotate things, make them look more organic, and boom, away away you go, you know, never seen back again the world axis. But you can do so, and being on the world axis allows you always to copy around the exact world axis, whether it's X, Y, or Z. So that is always helpful. It's a little tip I don't even follow myself, because it's just very, very exhausting to always think of it. But it's helpful, indeed it is. Now, look at all the buildings, all the builds, all the plants and stuff we're throwing in. It's just ridiculous how quickly you change the vibe of an area once you put things in. Obviously, it was super helpful to have all these blueprints of my different prefab kind of nature things. If I do not forget, I'll upload them as soon as tomorrow into the workshop, and with tomorrow's or maybe Sunday's episode, not sure if I get it done, you'll be able to download all of these prefabs. You know, I have a couple of prefabs of like reed and trees and some, I don't know, cobbled and all these kind of things you would need in a proper little forest area. So yeah, before I leave you guys, just again a big thanks to all of you. Hope you enjoyed that little time lapse, and it's almost time to hand you over again to the real-time Rudy. So hopefully you enjoy him too, but that's it from the future Rudy, and now it's handoff time. Have fun. Real-time Rudy reporting for duty, and here we are in the, well, not finished, I mean, as I explained, this is not the finished area, but it's kind of the idea where we are going. So look at that, the little birdie just flew into the water. Yeah, so this is the situation as we have it. Just to put it in perspective, that's where the restaurant sits, and it also has a pretty nice spot over there. So if you go, what the heck is he doing? What was that? Like a wheel dance. So the idea is that I'm going to have like a little bit of a viewing platform here, so that once you go here, you can see the restaurant already. And if you go around that side, over here, you will have another very nice peek towards the restaurant. The whole lake will be featured in this season. So that means whenever we have a habitat, the next time around the wild boars, and then afterwards the the Wolverine and all the other ones, you will always find that the lake will be enlarged and, continued. As we did last time around, once we did the sloth bear, we finished off this area, which is now super lush and has like a lot of things in here. I'm going to make also some fawn leaves go in there just at the end, but I want to also keep focus on the frames, because at the moment it's so silky smooth. I want to maintain that to make like a proper tour at the end. So trying to balance it out these times a little bit better. Hey, that boat is not allowed. You see there, oh my god, the pedals were like a tiny bit too big. And in general, the boat seems to be a little bit too big though. But it's kind of like a huge boat for more people to sit in. I couldn't get it any smaller, as you've seen from the, I mean, I could, but it was like super hard to do so. Honestly, I like this. Look at that. This is a cool position over here. Look at that. Oops, I don't want to go into the tree. There you go. That's a wonderful little. I want to zoom in a little to the, there you go, to the swan over here, and you've got the people sitting in the boat. Looked a little bit of Venice feel. Anyways, so yeah, that is the idea I had about this build, and I feel like it turned out mega nice. I wish these people would actually be able to, move inside of the boat. But I mean, maybe that is a little bit too much asked. But yeah, I can't tell. Oh, why is the birch in the water? That is not meant to be. There you go. Go a bit over here. So yeah, as I said, this is the build. There's really not that much to say, because I am just absolutely happy. I just want to zoom in here again. It just looks too good. Sorry, I'm addicted by this build. It just looks phenomenal, I guess, with like this building in the background and like having people sitting in the boat and just like, look at that. Look at this area. Oh, it's so good. I'm just so in awe with it. And people have commented that already, and like they were happy that I felt being back in my mojo. And it just is the case, I'm absolutely happy with how Hirscheck is just trying to shape up itself, but also how it's shaping up because of you guys also putting in these nice stories and just helping me write the story of Hirscheck Season 2. So keep on doing exactly this, guys. Keep on giving me the inspiration. Keep on giving me your comments. Make sure to be part of it. I really would love to have all of you involved here. So yeah, just bring the comments in. Make sure to sub to the channel if you haven't already, if you want to follow along. And also keep in mind that, as I said, YouTube is actively unsubbing people for whatever reason. I had like 10 people writing me after last episode telling me that they were actually unsubbed and they didn't even know. So just do me that little favor to check if you're subbed, and if not, please consider doing so. That helps me out as always a lot. And as you can see, we are going on with this positive vibe throughout the next episodes. Who would have guessed that exactly this DLC will bring me back to grips? I didn't. Oh, look at the swan just walking over the pier right there. Love it. Okay, well, I'll talk to you in the next one. Is it flying now? I want to pause it once it's jumping in. Oh no, this is just like, oh, what a fail. Okay, anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful weekend. Talk to you in the next one, and goodbye.